A Day in the Life of a Lighthouse Keeper. A calming bedtime story in 5 chapters. Chapter 1. Waking by the Waves. You wake slowly, gently, to the soft rhythm of waves against the rocky shore below your lighthouse home. The sound is constant, soothing, like a lullaby that has played all through the night. Your small bedroom window faces east, and the first pale light of dawn filters through the salt-stained glass, casting gentle shadows across your simple wooden floor. The morning air is cool. Fresh with the scent of sea spray and kelp, you breathe deeply, feeling the ocean's breath fill your lungs. Your lighthouse stands 70 feet above the churning waters, built of granite blocks quarried from these very cliffs over a century ago. Each stone was carefully selected, perfectly fitted, creating walls thick enough to withstand the fiercest storms. You sit up slowly in your narrow iron bed, feeling the familiar creak of the floorboards beneath your feet. The lighthouse keeper's quarters are small but comfortable. Just enough space for one person to live simply, peacefully. Your wooden dresser holds your few belongings, and a small wash basin sits beneath a mirror that reflects the morning light streaming through your window. Outside, seagulls call softly to each other as they glide on the morning breeze. Their cries are gentle, musical, blending with the eternal whisper of waves against stone. You can hear the distant sound of a fishing boat's engine, probably the Sarah Marie heading out for the day's catch. Captain Henderson always rises before dawn, following the ancient rhythms of the sea. You dress slowly in your thick wool sweater, feeling the soft yarn against your skin. The lighthouse service provided this clothing, designed to keep you warm in the constant ocean winds. Your boots are sturdy leather, well worn from countless walks around the lighthouse grounds. You lace them carefully, preparing for another day of tending your light. The lighthouse has been your home for 3 years now, ever since you answered the call for a keeper. The Lighthouse Board chose you from dozens of applicants, drawn to your quiet nature and your love of solitude. Here, surrounded by nothing but sea and sky, you have found a peace that the busy world could never offer. You walk to your small kitchen, where a wood-burning stove provides warmth and a place to cook your simple meals. The kettle sits ready on the iron surface, and you fill it with fresh water from your cistern. The lighthouse collects rainwater in a large tank, filtered and pure, tasting of nothing but the sky from which it fell. As the water heats, you step outside onto the small platform that circles the lighthouse base. The morning air is crisp, filled with the scent of salt and seaweed. Below you, the tide is low, exposing dark rocks covered in barnacles and mussels. Tidal pools reflect the pale morning sky, creating perfect mirrors in the stone. You can see 4 miles from here, across the endless expanse of grey-blue water. The horizon stretches like a soft line between sea and sky, blurred by morning mist. A few fishing boats dot the distant waters, their white sails catching the early light. The sight fills you with a deep sense of calm, of belonging to something vast and eternal. Your lighthouse stands on Beacon Point, named for the signal fires that once warned ships of the treacherous rocks below. The light you tend is far more advanced than those ancient flames. A rotating lens system that sends its beam 20 miles out to sea. But the purpose remains the same, to guide travelers safely through the darkness. The morning routine is always the same. Comforting in its predictability, you check the weather glass, noting the atmospheric pressure. Today it reads steady, promising calm seas and gentle winds. You record this information in your logbook, along with the time of sunrise and any ships you observe during the night. Your logbook is bound in leather, its pages filled with careful observations, written in your steady hand. Each entry tells the story of another day at sea, another night of guiding ships safely to harbor. The Lighthouse Board requires these records, but you would keep them anyway, finding comfort in the routine of observation and notation. You return to your kitchen as the kettle begins to whistle softly. The sound is gentle, musical, blending with the constant symphony of waves and wind. You brew your morning tea, a simple blend of black leaves that arrived last month with your supply boat. The steam rises from your cup, warming your face as you inhale the familiar aroma. Standing at your kitchen window, you watch the sun climb slowly above the horizon. The light changes gradually, from pale grey to soft gold, painting the waters in ever-shifting hues. This is your favorite time of day, when the world seems to hold its breath, waiting for the sun to fully emerge from its ocean bed. A cormorant lands on the rocks below, spreading its dark wings to dry in the morning air. These seabirds are your constant companions, along with the gulls and petrels that nest in the cliff-top grasses. They have learned to trust you, often perching on the lighthouse gallery while you work. Their presence makes the solitude feel less lonely, more like a chosen communion with nature. You finish your tea slowly, savoring each sip. There is no rush here, no schedule beyond the natural rhythms of day and night. The lighthouse lamp must be lit each evening at sunset, and extinguished each morning at dawn. Between these duties, your time is your own, filled with the simple tasks of maintenance and observation. You wash your cup in the small sink, using water you heated on the stove. Everything here must be done by hand, with care and attention. The lighthouse life teaches patience, the value of doing things slowly and thoroughly. You dry the cup with a soft cloth, placing it carefully in its place on the shelf. The sun is fully up now, casting long shadows across the lighthouse grounds. You step outside again, breathing deeply of the salt air. The morning mist is beginning to lift, revealing the full beauty of your coastal home. Rocky outcroppings stretch in both directions, creating small coves where seals sometimes rest on the dark stones. You walk slowly around the lighthouse base, checking for any damage from the night's winds. The building is solid, built to withstand decades of ocean storms. The granite blocks show no signs of wear, fitted so perfectly that wind and water cannot penetrate the joints. Your footsteps echo softly on the stone pathway, a gentle rhythm that matches the pulse of the waves below. The lighthouse grounds are simple but well maintained. A small garden grows in the shelter of the building, protected from the salt spray by a low stone wall. Here you raise hardy vegetables, potatoes and cabbage, that can withstand the coastal climate. The soil is rich with composted seaweed, creating fertile ground even in this harsh environment. You pause at the garden gate, noting the progress of your plants. The potato plants are thriving, their green leaves reaching toward the sun. The cabbage heads are forming nunsely, promising fresh vegetables for your simple meals. Gardening here requires patience, but the results are deeply satisfying. A harbour seal surfaces in the calm water below, its whiskered face watching you with curious dark eyes. These gentle creatures are frequent visitors, often following the fishing boats as they return with their catch. You wave softly at the seal, and it disappears beneath the surface with barely a ripple. The morning is advancing, and soon it will be time to tend to the lighthouse lamp. But for now, you are content to stand in the gentle sunshine, feeling the warmth on your face and the steady breeze in your hair. This is your world, simple and peaceful, governed by the eternal rhythms of sea and sky. You think about the ships that will pass tonight, their crews watching for your light. Some will be fishing boats returning to harbour, others merchant vessels carrying goods to distant ports. All will depend on your faithful beacon, just as countless ships have depended on the keepers who came before you. The responsibility is both heavy and comforting. You are part of an ancient tradition, a guardian of the sea roads, a keeper of the light that guides travellers safely home. The thought fills you with quiet pride, with a sense of purpose that goes beyond your solitary existence. You return to your quarters as the morning reaches its full brightness. The lighthouse interior is cool, its thick walls providing shelter from the warming sun. You climb the spiral staircase slowly, feeling the smooth iron handrail beneath your palm. Each step brings you closer to the lamp room, where your most important work awaits. The staircase winds upward through the lighthouse tower, past small windows that offer glimpses of the sea at different angles. At each level, you pause to look out, checking the horizon for any signs of changing weather. The morning remains calm, the sea a gentle blue-green beneath the climbing sun. Your legs are strong from years of climbing these stairs. Multiple times each day, the exercise keeps you fit, gives you the strength needed for the physical demands of lighthouse keeping. You take your time, enjoying the familiar rhythm of the ascent, the way the light changes as you climb higher. Halfway up, you pause at the small storage room where you keep your supplies. Oil for the lamp, cleaning cloths, spare parts for the rotating mechanism. Everything is neatly organized, labeled and stored with care. The Lighthouse Service supply boat comes monthly, bringing everything you need to keep the light burning bright. You continue upward, feeling the slight sway of the tower in the ocean breeze. The lighthouse is designed to flex slightly, allowing it to withstand the powerful forces of coastal storms. This gentle movement is comforting, like being rocked in a giant's cradle, safe and secure above the churning waters. The lamp room awaits at the top, its windows offering a complete view of the surrounding sea. Here, surrounded by the massive lens assembly, you will spend much of your day. The work is precise, requiring careful attention to detail, but it is also deeply satisfying, knowing that your efforts will guide ships safely through the darkness. You reach the top of the stairs and feel the cool breeze flowing through the lamp room. Morning light streams through the windows, shining softly on the brass and glass of the lens system. Soon, you'll begin the daily ritual of tending the light, preparing it for another night of faithful service. But for now, you stand quietly, looking out over the wide expanse of sea and sky. The morning is gentle and peaceful, filled with the simple joys of your coastal home. You take a deep breath and feel a quiet gratitude for this life you've chosen, this connection with the steady rhythm of the sea. Your eyelids grow heavy as you gaze at the slow, calming motion of the waves. Sunlight filters through the salt-stained windows, casting soft, dancing patterns on the floor. A deep sense of peace surrounds you, just the sound of water whispering against stone. The breeze carries the scent of kelp and sea spray. It soothes your thoughts and quiets your mind. You drift slowly into a deep, restful sleep. Chapter 2. Tending the Light. You wake gently in the lamp room, having dozed peacefully in the morning warmth. The sun has climbed higher now, casting brilliant patterns through the lighthouse lens. You stretch slowly, feeling refreshed by your brief rest. The ocean breeze flows through the open windows, carrying the eternal song of waves against the rocky shore below. The lamp room is the heart of your lighthouse, a circular chamber surrounded by windows that offer a complete view of the surrounding waters. At the center stands the magnificent lens assembly, a marvel of 19th century engineering that has guided ships safely for over 50 years. The lens consists of hundreds of individual glass prisms, each one carefully shaped and positioned to focus the lamp's light into a powerful beam. You approach the lens system slowly, respectfully. This Fresnel lens, named for its French inventor, can magnify a single lamp flame into a light visible 20 miles at sea. The glass panels are arranged in concentric circles, creating a beehive-like structure that captures and directs every ray of light. Each prism is slightly different, shaped to bend the light at precisely the right angle. Your first task is to clean the lens, removing any salt deposits or dust that may have accumulated overnight. You gather your supplies from the storage cabinet, soft cloths made of fine linen, a special cleaning solution that won't damage the delicate glass, and a small brush for reaching into the corners between the prisms. You begin at the bottom of the lens, working your way around the circular structure. Each panel requires careful attention, gentle pressure to remove any build-up without scratching the glass. The lens was manufactured in Paris, shipped across the Atlantic in specially designed crates, and assembled here by skilled technicians. Every piece is irreplaceable, requiring the utmost care. The morning light streams through the clean glass, creating rainbow patterns on the lamp room walls. As you work, you can see how each prism catches and redirects the light, sending it outward in brilliant rays. The effect is hypnotic, mesmerizing, like working inside a giant jewel that captures and amplifies the sun's radiance. You move slowly around the lens, taking your time with each panel. The work is meditative, requiring focus and attention that clears your mind of all other thoughts. Your hands move with practiced precision, wiping away the ocean's deposits, restoring the glass to crystal clarity. This is sacred work, tending the light that guides lost souls safely home. As you clean, you notice a small cargo ship on the horizon, its smokestack releasing a thin trail of grey against the blue sky. The vessel is still many miles away, but tonight it will depend on your light to navigate safely past the rocky headland. The thought fills you with quiet purpose, knowing that your careful work will help ensure safe passage. The lens mechanism is designed to rotate slowly, sending the light beam in a complete circle every 10 seconds. This creates the characteristic lighthouse pattern: a brief flash followed by darkness, then another flash as the beam sweeps around again. Each lighthouse has its own unique timing, allowing ships to identify their position by counting the interval between flashes. You check the rotation mechanism, a clockwork system powered by heavy weights that descend slowly through the lighthouse tower. The weights must be wound every few hours, like a giant clock that never stops ticking. The gears are made of brass, polished to a golden gleam, turning with mechanical precision that has never failed in all your years of service. The lamp itself sits at the center of the lens assembly, a specialized burner that produces a steady, brilliant flame. In the early days of lighthouses, keepers burned whale oil or kerosene, requiring constant attention to maintain the flame. Your lamp burns a more modern fuel, delivered monthly by the supply boat. But the principle remains the same: a single flame magnified into a beacon of hope. You adjust the wick carefully, ensuring the flame burns at exactly the right height, to low, and the light will be dim, to high, and it will smoke and darken the lens. The flame must be steady, unwavering, a constant source of light that ships can depend upon. You have learned to read the flame like a book, understanding its moods and needs. The morning cleaning complete, you step back to admire your work. The lens sparkles like a giant diamond, every surface clean and clear. The light streaming through creates a brilliant display, painting the lamp room in dancing colors. You feel a deep satisfaction, knowing that tonight this beautiful instrument will send its life-saving beam across the dark waters. You descend the spiral staircase slowly, your footsteps echoing softly in the tower. The morning's work has been peaceful, meditative, filling you with a sense of accomplishment. You pause at each window on your way down, checking the sea for any changes in conditions. The water remains calm, a gentle blue-green that stretches to the horizon. In your quarters, you prepare a simple lunch from your store of provisions. Fresh bread from the bakery in town, delivered last week by the supply boat. A piece of cheese aged in the cool climate of the mainland, its flavor sharp and satisfying. A few vegetables from your garden, tomatoes that have ripened in the coastal sun, their taste sweet and fresh. You eat slowly, savoring each bite. The lighthouse life teaches appreciation for simple pleasures. The taste of fresh food, the warmth of sunlight through a window, the sound of waves against stone. You have learned to find joy in the smallest things, to see beauty in the everyday routines of your solitary existence. Through your kitchen window, you watch the fishing boats returning from their morning's work. Their holds are full of the sea's bounty, cod and haddock, mackerel and flounder. The boats move slowly across the calm water, their engines pushing gently as they navigate toward the harbor. You wave to Captain Henderson as the Sarah Marie passes below your lighthouse, and he sounds his horn in friendly greeting. After lunch, you return to the lamp room to check the mechanism. The rotating weights have descended several feet, requiring rewinding to maintain the proper timing. You grasp the heavy chain, pulling hand over hand to raise the weights back to their starting position. The work is physical, but not unpleasant, giving you a sense of connection to the mechanical heart of your lighthouse. The brass gears turn smoothly, well oiled and maintained. You check each component carefully, looking for any signs of wear or damage. The mechanism was built to last, crafted by skilled engineers who understood the importance of reliability. Every part has been tested and proven, designed to operate without fail in the harsh coastal environment. You oil the moving parts carefully, using a special lubricant that won't freeze in winter storms or thin in summer heat. Each gear tooth must be properly lubricated, each bearing smooth and free. The work requires patience, attention to detail, but the results are deeply satisfying. You take pride in maintaining this complex machine, keeping it running with clockwork precision. The afternoon light streams through the lamp room windows, casting long shadows across the floor. You can see the cargo ship more clearly now, its hull riding low in the water, loaded with goods bound for distant ports. The crew aboard that vessel will work through the night, depending on your light to guide them safely past the dangerous rocks that line this coast. You think about the lighthouse keepers who came before you, generations of men and women who tended this same flame. Each one learned the rhythms of the sea, the patterns of weather and tide, the responsibility of keeping the light burning bright. Their ghosts seem to move through the lamp room, offering guidance and encouragement, reminding you that you are part of an ancient tradition. The lens continues its slow rotation, sending practice flashes across the water. Even in daylight, the beam is visible, a brilliant ray that sweeps across the sea with mechanical precision. You time the rotation carefully, counting the seconds between flashes, ensuring the pattern matches the charts that guide ships safely to harbor. You check the fuel level in the lamp reservoir, noting that it will last through the night with fuel to spare. The supply boat will arrive next week, bringing fresh provisions and fuel, mail from the mainland, and perhaps a visitor to break the solitude. But you are content with your quiet existence, finding peace in the rhythm of your daily duties. The afternoon passes slowly, peacefully. You spend time reading in your quarters, a book about maritime history borrowed from the Lighthouse library. The stories of other keepers, other lights, other storms weathered and ships guided safely home. The words transport you to different shores, different times, but the essential experience remains the same. The eternal vigil of the lighthouse keeper. You tend your small garden, watering the plants with collected rainwater, checking for any signs of pest damage. The vegetables are growing well in the coastal soil, enriched by seaweed and salt air. The work is peaceful, grounding, connecting you to the earth even as you spend your days, surrounded by sea and sky. A seal surfaces near the shore, its whiskered face curious and intelligent. These gentle creatures are frequent visitors, often following the fishing boats as they return with their catch. You watch as the seal disappears beneath the surface, leaving only ripples to mark its passing. The ocean is full of life, constantly changing, endlessly fascinating. The sun begins its descent toward the western horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and amber. Soon it will be time to light the lamp, to begin the night's vigil. But for now, you are content to sit quietly, watching the light change across the water, feeling the gentle breeze that carries the scent of salt and seaweed. You climb the stairs once more, checking the lamp mechanism one final time before evening. Everything is in perfect order, the lens clean and clear, the rotation smooth and precise, the fuel reservoir full and ready. Tonight, like every night for the past 50 years, this lighthouse will send its beam across the dark waters, guiding travelers safely home. The responsibility is both humbling and inspiring. You are the guardian of this light, the keeper of the flame that has saved countless lives. The thought fills you with quiet pride, with a sense of purpose that goes beyond your solitary existence. You are part of something greater, a network of lights that spans the globe, each one tended by someone who understands the sacred duty of keeping the darkness at bay. The afternoon light grows softer, more golden. As evening approaches, you stand in the lamp room, surrounded by the magnificent lens assembly, feeling deeply grateful for this life you have chosen. The work is simple but meaningful, the solitude complete but not lonely, the connection to the sea and sky profound and nourishing. You breathe deeply, feeling the salt air fill your lungs, tasting the ocean's eternal presence. The waves continue their rhythmic dance against the rocky shore, a sound that has lulled you to sleep for 3 years, that will comfort you for as long as you remain in this tower. The lighthouse stands solid and secure, your home above the churning waters, your sanctuary in the vast expanse of sea and sky. Your eyelids grow heavy as you watch the gentle rotation of the lens. The afternoon light creates dancing rainbows on the lamproom walls. The steady rhythm of the gears blends with the soft whisper of the waves below. You feel deeply peaceful, surrounded by the quiet strength of your lighthouse. The ocean breeze carries the scent of salt and seaweed. It calms your thoughts and eases your mind. Slowly, gently, you drift into a deep and restful sleep. Chapter 3. Weather and Watch. You wake slowly in the lamp room. The late afternoon sun casts long golden rays through the lens assembly. The light has shifted and grown softer, filling the room with warm amber tones. You stretch gently, feeling refreshed after your peaceful rest. The ocean breeze still flows through the windows. It carries the sound of waves crashing gently on the rocky shore below. You stand from your chair and walk to the windows, scanning the horizon with calm, practiced eyes. The sea has changed slightly since morning. Now, small whitecaps dance in the growing breeze. The sky remains mostly clear, but thin wisps of cloud are forming in the west, delicate streaks, often signs of changing weather. This is the time of day when you become the lighthouse's weatherman. You read the signals that nature offers. The barometer on your instrument table shows a small drop in pressure. It's not dramatic, but enough to suggest that the calm might not last through the night. You write the reading in your weather log, recording the time and conditions carefully. The fishing boats have returned to the harbor. Their white sails are folded, crews are preparing for the night ahead. Captain Henderson's boat, the Sarah Marie, is safely moored at the town dock, along with the others that work these waters. These fishermen know how to read the sea. They recognize the subtle signs that warn of storms to come. You check the wind vane on the roof. The breeze has shifted slightly to the southwest. This change often brings fog rolling in from the open ocean. During fog, the lighthouse lamp becomes essential. When visibility drops to just a few yards, ships rely entirely on the beam of light to find their way. The cargo ship you observed earlier is now much closer. Perhaps 5 miles offshore. Through your telescope, you can see the details of its construction. The smoke rising from its stack, the crew members moving about on deck. Tonight this vessel will pass your lighthouse. Its crew watching for the familiar flash pattern that identifies your beacon among the many lights along this coast. You descend the spiral staircase to check your weather instruments more thoroughly. The lighthouse is equipped with a complete meteorological station, barometer and thermometer, wind gauge and rain collector. These instruments help you predict local conditions. Information that you include in your nightly signal to the Coast Guard station. Weather reports from lighthouse keepers help ships plan their routes and avoid dangerous conditions. The barometer reading confirms your earlier observation. Pressure dropping slowly, but steadily, the temperature remains mild. But you notice a subtle increase in humidity that often precedes the arrival of fog. You record these measurements in your logbook, adding them to the decades of weather data collected by your predecessors. Outside, the wind has picked up slightly, causing the lighthouse to sway almost imperceptibly. This gentle movement is normal, designed into the structure to help it withstand the powerful forces of coastal storms. You have learned to read the building's subtle motions, to distinguish between normal flex and the more dramatic swaying that accompanies severe weather. You walk around the lighthouse base, checking the grounds for any loose objects that might be blown about by increasing winds. The small garden is well protected by its stone wall, but you secure the gate with extra care. Your weather station instruments are firmly mounted, designed to withstand the harsh coastal environment, but you check their fastenings anyway. The tide is beginning to turn, the water level dropping slowly to reveal more of the rocky shore. At low tide, the lighthouse's foundation is fully exposed, showing the massive blocks of granite that anchor the structure to the bedrock. These stones have withstood countless storms, their surfaces polished smooth by decades of wind and spray. You notice the seabirds behaving differently, flying lower than usual, their calls more urgent. Gulls and petrels have an uncanny ability to sense approaching weather changes, often seeking shelter hours before human instruments detect any significant shift. Their behavior is another tool in your weather reading arsenal, nature's own early warning system. The evening light continues to change, the sun now noticeably lower in the western sky. You return to the lamp room to begin your evening preparations, checking the fuel level one final time, adjusting the wick to ensure a perfect flame. The lamp must be lit exactly at sunset, a timing that changes slightly each day as the seasons progress. Through the western windows, you can see the sun approaching the horizon, its light now a deeper gold that paints the water in shimmering metallic tones. The thin clouds you noticed earlier have thickened slightly, creating a canvas for the spectacular sunset that is about to unfold. The sky begins to blush with shades of pink and orange, reflected in the gentle swells below. You open your Lighthouse manual, checking the precise time of sunset for today's date. The schedules are calculated months in advance, taking into account the lighthouse's exact latitude and longitude. The timing must be precise. Too early and you waste fuel. Too late and ships may pass in dangerous darkness. You set your pocket watch carefully, preparing for the evening's most important ritual. The weather continues to change subtly, the wind now steady from the southwest. The humidity rising as moisture-laden air moves inland from the open ocean. You can smell the change in the air, a freshness that speaks of rain, a density that suggests fog may form once the sun sets and the temperature drops. You check the lighthouse's fog signal, a powerful horn that sounds automatically when visibility drops below a certain level. The mechanism is spring-loaded, activated by a special gauge that measures the density of the air. During foggy conditions, the horn will sound every 20 seconds. Its deep note carrying 4 miles across the water, warning ships of the rocky shore even when they cannot see the light. The cargo ship is now clearly visible, perhaps 2 miles offshore and moving steadily along the shipping lane. Through your telescope, you can see the crew preparing for the night watch, checking their navigation equipment, plotting their course past your lighthouse. The vessel will pass your beacon around midnight, just as the moon sets and the darkness deepens. You prepare your evening meal as the sun continues its descent. Simple fare that can be eaten quickly before the lamplighting ceremony. Fresh fish from yesterday's catch, vegetables from your garden. Bread that will taste even better warmed by the kitchen fire. The meal is peaceful, contemplative, a moment of quiet before the night's responsibilities begin. As you eat, you watch the sky continue its transformation. The thin clouds have spread across the western horizon, creating a layered canvas of pink and gold. The sun sits lower now, a glowing orb that paints the water in brilliant reflections. The fishing boats in the harbor are silhouetted against the luminous sky, their masts creating a forest of dark lines against the colorful backdrop. The wind has steadied now, a consistent breeze that carries the scent of rain and distant storms. You can feel the change in the air, the electricity that precedes weather systems, the subtle shift in pressure that makes the lighthouse timbers creak softly. These are the sounds you have learned to love. The voice of your tower home, it prepares for whatever the night may bring. You finish your meal and return to the lamp room, carrying your evening supplies, fresh oil for the lamp, cleaning cloths for any last-minute adjustments, your logbook for recording the night's observations. The sun is now very low, perhaps 20 minutes from touching the horizon. The sky has deepened to brilliant orange and red, with purple shadows beginning to gather in the east. The lighthouse lens catches the sunset light, breaking it into countless rainbows that dance across the lamp room walls. The effect is magical, transforming the circular chamber into a prism of color and light. You stand quietly in the center of this display, feeling deeply grateful for the beauty that surrounds your simple life. The weather instruments show continued changes, pressure still dropping slowly, wind holding steady from the southwest, humidity rising as the sun sets and the air begins to cool. You record these observations in your weather log, noting that fog may form later in the evening. The lighthouse beam will be even more important if visibility drops during the night. You check the lamp one final time, ensuring the wick is properly trimmed, the fuel level adequate, the glass chimney clean and clear. Everything must be perfect for the lighting ceremony, a ritual you have performed over 1,000 times, yet one that never loses its sense of importance and solemnity. The sun touches the horizon now, a perfect golden disk balanced on the edge of the world. The water reflects its image, creating a pathway of light that stretches from the lighthouse to the distant rim of the sea. The sky has deepened to brilliant crimson and orange, with the first stars beginning to appear, a darker eastern sky. You prepare the match, holding it ready as the sun begins to sink below the horizon. The timing must be exact, the flame lit at the precise moment when natural light fades and artificial light becomes necessary. You have learned to read the subtle changes in illumination, to sense the exact moment when day transitions to night. The sun disappears slowly, its light lingering in the sky, even the disk vanishes beneath the waves. The horizon glows with residual radiance, a soft amber light that gradually fades to purple, then to deep blue. The water reflects these changing colors, creating a mirror image of the sky's transformation. While the fish cooks, you prepare the other elements of your meal. Fresh bread from the bakery in town, delivered last week by the supply boat. Its crust still crisp despite the days that have passed. You slice it carefully with your sharp knife, each piece perfectly even, ready to soak up the simple flavors of your coastal dinner. From your root cellar, you retrieve potatoes grown in your own garden, small and firm, their skins still carrying traces of the rich soil enriched by seaweed and salt air. You wash them gently, feeling their smooth surfaces, then quarter them for roasting alongside the fish. The potatoes will cook slowly, absorbing the flavors of the sea salt and herbs. You add the potatoes to a second pan, drizzling them with a small amount of oil, seasoning them with the same herbs you used for the fish. The kitchen fills with the mingled aromas of cooking food, simple ingredients transformed by heat and care into nourishment for body and soul. Through your kitchen window, you can see the fog growing thicker, beginning to obscure the water directly below the lighthouse. The beam cuts through the mist with increasing importance, its light now the only guide for any vessels that might be traveling these waters. You feel the familiar surge of responsibility, knowing that your light may be the difference between safe passage and disaster. The foghorn sounds again, its deep note carrying across the water, warning ships of the rocky shore even when they cannot see the lighthouse beam. The sound is both mournful and reassuring, a voice in the darkness that speaks of safety and guidance. You have learned to love this sound, to find comfort in its regular rhythm. You turn the fish carefully, watching as the other side begins to brown. The flesh is cooking perfectly, the oil hot enough to create a golden crust, while keeping the interior moist and flaky. This is simple cooking, the kind that depends on fresh ingredients and careful attention, rather than complex techniques. The potatoes are beginning to soften, their edges turning golden brown. You shake the pan gently, ensuring even cooking, listening to the quiet sizzle as the oil carries heat to every surface. The herbs release their fragrance as they heat, filling the kitchen with the scent of thyme and rosemary, plants that somehow thrive in the harsh coastal environment. You prepare your small dining table, setting out your simple plates and utensils. The lighthouse keeper's life is spare, focused on essentials. But this simplicity brings its own kind of richness. Each meal is appreciated, each flavor savored, each moment of nourishment treated as a gift rather than a mere necessity. The fog outside continues to thicken, now obscuring everything beyond a few yards from the lighthouse. The beam sweeps through the mist like a lighthouse keeper's lantern, each flash briefly illuminating the water droplets that hang suspended in the air. The effect is magical, transforming the familiar seascape into something mysterious and ethereal. You can hear the cargo ship's foghorn in the distance, a different tone from your lighthouse signal, deeper and more resonant. The vessel is proceeding cautiously through the reduced visibility, its crew relying on radar and the lighthouse beam to navigate safely past the rocky headland. The sound draws closer, then begins to fade as the ship continues along its course. The fish is ready now, perfectly cooked, its flesh white and flaky, the outside golden and crisp. You remove it carefully from the pan, placing it on your plates with the reverence due to this gift from the sea. The potatoes follow, their surfaces caramelized and fragrant, their interiors soft and creamy. You pour yourself a glass of fresh water, collected from the sky in your cistern, filtered and pure. The lighthouse life teaches appreciation for simple pleasures: clean water, fresh food, the warmth of a kitchen stove on a foggy evening. These basic comforts take on deeper meaning when they are earned through your own labor and care. You sit at your small table, looking out through the fog-shrouded windows as you begin to eat. The meal is perfect in its simplicity, the fish sweet and tender, the potatoes rich with the flavors of earth and sea. You eat slowly, savoring each bite, feeling grateful for the abundance that the ocean and your garden provide. The foghorn continues its regular rhythm, counting off the seconds like a maritime metronome, 20 seconds between signals. A timing that allows ships to distinguish your warning from the many other sounds of the sea. The deep note carries 4 miles, penetrating the thickest fog, reaching ships that might otherwise stumble onto the rocky shore. Through the mist, you can see the lighthouse beam making its steady rotation. 10 seconds between flashes, a pattern that has remained unchanged for 50 years. Ship's captains study these patterns, memorizing the unique signature of each lighthouse, using them to navigate safely along the coast. Your light is part of a network of beacons, each one tended by a keeper who understands the sacred responsibility of guiding travelers safely home. You finish your meal slowly, reluctant to end this peaceful interlude. The fish was perfect, the potatoes satisfying, the bread a perfect complement to the simple flavors of your coastal dinner. You wash your dishes carefully in the small sink, using water heated on the stove, drying them with a soft cloth before returning them to their places on the shelf. The fog has now completely enveloped the lighthouse, transforming your world into a cocoon of grey mist. The beam cuts through the darkness with increasing urgency, its light diffused but still strong, still faithful in its mission to guide ships safely past the dangerous rocks. You feel the weight of responsibility, knowing that on nights like this, your light may be the only thing standing between ships and disaster. You return to the lamp room, climbing the spiral staircase slowly, feeling the slight sway of the lighthouse in the fog-laden wind. The lamp burns steadily, its flame bright and unwavering, the lens assembly focusing its light into a beam that penetrates the thickest mist. The rotation mechanism continues its mechanical rhythm. 20 revolutions per minute, each flash precisely timed. The fog has transformed the lamp room into something magical. The beam's light reflecting off the water droplets that press against the windows, creating a shimmering curtain of illumination. You can see only a few feet beyond the lighthouse, but you know that your light is reaching much farther, cutting through the darkness to guide ships safely along their course. You check the weather instruments, noting that the barometric pressure has stabilized. The wind has shifted slightly, and the humidity is now near saturation. These conditions suggest that the fog will persist through the night, making your lighthouse beam even more critical for navigation. You record these observations in your logbook, adding to the centuries of weather data collected by lighthouse keepers. The fog horn sounds again, its deep note carrying across the invisible water. Somewhere in the mist, ships are proceeding cautiously, their crews listening for these signals, watching for the flash of your lighthouse beam. The responsibility is both humbling and inspiring, knowing that your faithful vigil may save lives, that your simple light in the darkness serves a purpose greater than yourself. You settle into your evening routine, checking the fuel level, adjusting the wick, monitoring the rotation mechanism. The fog presses against the windows like a living thing, soft and mysterious, transforming the familiar seascape into something alien and beautiful. The lighthouse beam sweeps through the mist with hypnotic regularity, each flash briefly illuminating the water droplets that hang suspended in the air. Time passes slowly in the fog. Each minute is marked by the steady rhythm of the lighthouse beam and the call of the foghorn. The world has shrunk to just the lighthouse and the small circle of mist that surrounds it. Yet somehow, this isolation makes you feel even more connected to the vast ocean beyond the grey veil. You think about the meal you just finished. There was simple pleasure in fresh fish and garden vegetables, a quiet satisfaction in food prepared with care and eaten with gratitude. Life in the lighthouse teaches you to appreciate these basic comforts, the abundance that comes from living close to the sea and the land, the rhythm of seasons and tides that shape this coastal world. The fog still swirls around the lighthouse. Sometimes, it thins just enough to show a glimpse of the water below. Other times, it grows so thick that the beam seems to vanish just yards from the lens. These shifts create a changing light show. The beam appears and disappears like a quiet dance choreographed by the sea itself. You write another entry in your logbook. You note the time, the weather, and the faint sounds of ships passing through the fog. Each entry becomes part of the lighthouse's living history, a record of storms and calms, of vessels and weather, of the endless conversation between human navigation and the forces of nature. The lighthouse beam keeps rotating, steady and true. It cuts through the fog with mechanical grace. The light feels almost alive, reaching out across the unseen water. It touches ships you cannot see, guiding them past the rocky shore. You feel deeply connected to this light, to the responsibility it carries, and to the long tradition of lighthouse keepers who have tended this flame across the centuries. The foghorn sounds again. Its deep voice blends with the whisper of waves against stone, with the hum of the lighthouse machinery, with the soft wind drifting through the mist. Together, these sounds form a quiet symphony of the sea, a lullaby of safety and guidance, of lights in the darkness and harbors in the storm. Your eyelids grow heavy as you watch the lighthouse beam sweep through the fog. The rotating light casts moving patterns of brightness and shadow. The steady tone of the foghorn merges with the eternal whisper of waves. You feel calm, completely at peace, wrapped in the quiet shelter of mist. The lighthouse beam reaches out like a blessing, guiding lost travelers through the night. Slowly, gently, you drift into a deep and restful sleep. Chapter 5: Nightfall and Reflection. You wake gently to the sound of the fog beginning to lift, the mist thinning gradually as the night air cools and the atmospheric pressure shifts. Through the lamp-room windows, you can see patches of star-filled sky appearing between the dissipating clouds of fog. The lighthouse beam continues its faithful rotation, now cutting through clear air once more, its light reaching its full 20-mile range across the dark ocean. The foghorn has fallen silent, its sensors detecting the improved visibility. The sudden quiet feels profound after hours of the deep rhythmic notes, like the pause between movements in a great symphony. You can hear the waves more clearly now, their gentle rhythm against the rocky shore below, the eternal heartbeat of the sea that has counted out the hours of countless lighthouse keepers. You check your pocket watch, noting that it's past midnight. The darkest hours of the night stretch ahead, when your light becomes most precious to the ships that travel these waters. The moon has set, leaving only the stars to compete with your beacon. Tiny points of light scattered across the vast dome of the sky like diamonds on black velvet. The lighthouse beam sweeps across water that now reflects the starlight, creating a shimmering path that leads from the rocky shore to the distant horizon. The effect is magical, transforming the familiar seascape into something otherworldly. A liquid mirror that captures the light of both your beacon and the celestial fires above. You descend the spiral staircase slowly, making your rounds to check the lighthouse systems. The fog has left everything damp, the windows streaked with moisture, the metal surfaces beaded with tiny droplets that catch the light. You wipe down the instruments carefully, ensuring that the salt-laden mist hasn't affected their operation. The lighthouse feels different in the post-fog clarity, more open, more connected to the vast ocean that stretches beyond the horizon. The beam reaches farther now, touching ships that may be many miles away, guiding them safely along the shipping lanes that follow the coast. You feel the familiar surge of purpose, knowing that your light serves travelers you may never see. From your kitchen window, you can see the lights of the town in the distance, small golden points that mark the harbor where the fishing boats rest until dawn. The sight is comforting, a reminder that you are not completely alone in your seaside vigil, that your light is part of a network of illumination that guides ships safely to port. You prepare a simple cup of tea, heating water on your wood-burning stove, steeping the leaves in the ceramic pot that has served you through countless midnight hours. The ritual is soothing, meditative, a moment of quiet reflection in the middle of the night watch. The tea's fragrant, warming, a small comfort in the vast darkness. You return to the lamp room with your tea, settling into your observation chair to continue the night's vigil. The lighthouse beam continues its hypnotic rotation, each flash briefly illuminating the water far below. The light is beautiful, almost alive, reaching out across the dark ocean with mechanical precision and human purpose. The stars are brilliant now that the fog has lifted, scattered across the sky in patterns that have guided sailors for millennia. You can see the North Star, steady and unchanging, the celestial lighthouse that has helped countless ships find their way home. The sight fills you with a sense of connection to the ancient traditions of navigation, to the eternal human need for guidance in the darkness. A night heron lands on the lighthouse gallery, its long neck silhouetted against the star-filled sky. These beautiful birds are frequent nocturnal visitors, drawn perhaps by the insects that gather around the lighthouse beam. The heron stands motionless for several minutes, a living sculpture against the backdrop of sea and sky, before taking flight once more into the darkness. You sip your tea slowly, feeling the warmth spread through your body. The lighthouse life teaches patience, the ability to find pleasure in simple moments, to appreciate the quiet beauty of the night hours, when the world belongs to the lighthouse keeper and the sea. These are sacred hours, filled with the peaceful rhythm of light and darkness, wave and shore. The lighthouse beam continues to sweep across the water, each flash reaching out like a gentle touch, reassuring any ships that might be traveling these waters that they are not alone in the darkness. The light is constant, reliable, a promise kept night after night for over 50 years. You feel honored to be part of this tradition, this unbroken chain of lighthouse keepers who have tended the flame. You think about the day that has passed, the simple routines that have filled the hours from dawn to midnight, the morning cleaning of the lens, the afternoon maintenance of the mechanism, the evening ritual of lighting the lamp, the night vigil that will continue until dawn. Each task has its own rhythm, its own satisfaction, its own contribution to the greater purpose of guiding ships safely home. The ocean stretches endlessly before you, dark and mysterious, alive with currents and tides that have flowed for millions of years. Somewhere in that vast expanse, ships are making their way along ancient routes, their crews depending on lights like yours to navigate safely through the darkness. The thought fills you with quiet pride, with a sense of purpose that transcends your solitary existence. You record another entry in your logbook, noting the time the fog lifted, the current weather conditions, the ships you have observed during the night. Each entry adds to the historical record, documenting the endless cycle of weather and navigation, the eternal dance between human activity and the forces of nature. The lighthouse beam sweeps across a seal that has surfaced near the shore, its whiskered face briefly illuminated in the rotating light. These gentle creatures are active during the night hours, hunting for fish in the dark waters. Their presence a reminder of the rich marine life that thrives in these coastal waters. The seal disappears beneath the surface, leaving only ripples to mark its passage. You finish your tea and set the cup aside, preparing for the long hours of watching that stretch until dawn. The lighthouse beam continues its faithful rotation, cutting through the clear night air with brilliant precision. The light is hypnotic, mesmerizing, a meditation on the themes of guidance and safety, of human responsibility and natural beauty. The night air is cool and fresh, carrying the scent of salt and seaweed. The clean smell of the ocean after fog. You breathe deeply, feeling the lighthouse's gentle sway in the night breeze. The subtle movement that reminds you of the tower's flexibility, its ability to bend without breaking in the face of nature's forces. A shooting star streaks across the sky, its brief brilliance a reminder of the cosmic scale of the universe. You make a wish, as lighthouse keepers have done for generations. A simple prayer for the safety of all who travel the sea roads, for fair winds and following seas, for the continued faithfulness of the light that burns at the heart of your tower. The lighthouse beam continues to sweep across the water, each flash a message of hope sent out into the darkness. The light travels at the speed of light itself, reaching ships almost instantly across the vast distances of the ocean. This simple beam carries with it the accumulated wisdom of centuries, the knowledge that light conquers darkness, that guidance is always available to those who need it. You think about the lighthouse keepers who came before you, the men and women who climbed these same stairs, tended this same light, watched over these same waters. Their spirits seem to move through the lamp room, offering encouragement and companionship, reminding you that you are part of something larger than yourself. A tradition that stretches back to the ancient lighthouse of Alexandria. The hours pass slowly, peacefully, marked by the regular rhythm of the lighthouse beam and the gentle sound of waves against stone. The night is alive with subtle sounds, the cry of seabirds, the splash of waves, the whisper of wind through the lighthouse rigging. These sounds create a symphony of the sea, a lullaby that speaks of eternal rhythms and enduring purpose. You check the lighthouse mechanism once more, ensuring that the rotation continues smoothly, that the fuel level remains adequate, that the flame burns bright and steady. Everything is in perfect order, the result of careful maintenance and loving attention. The lighthouse runs like a fine clock, precise and reliable, a testament to the skill of its builders and the dedication of its keepers. The stars will slowly overhead, marking the passage of time in their ancient patterns. You have learned to read these celestial signs, to use them for navigation and timekeeping, to find comfort in their steady presence. The lighthouse beam reaches up toward these distant lights, a terrestrial star answering the call of its celestial cousins. Dawn is still hours away, but you can sense its approach in the subtle changes of the night. The darkness will gradually give way to grey, then to the soft colors of sunrise, and you will perform the morning ritual of extinguishing the lamp. But for now, the night is yours, filled with the peaceful responsibility of tending the light that guides ships safely home. You settle more comfortably in your chair, preparing to continue the vigil until dawn. The lighthouse beam sweeps steadily across the dark water. Each flash a promise kept, a duty fulfilled. A light in the darkness for all who need guidance. The night stretches ahead, quiet and beautiful, filled with the eternal rhythm of sea and sky and the faithful turning of the light. The lighthouse stands solid and secure on its foundation of granite, your home above the churning waters, your sanctuary in the vast expanse of ocean. The beam continues its hypnotic rotation, casting its light across the dark waters with mechanical precision and human purpose. You feel deeply grateful for this life, for the opportunity to serve, for the privilege of keeping the light that guides travelers safely through the darkness. The ocean whispers its ancient songs against the rocky shore, the waves keeping time like a cosmic metronome, counting out the hours of your vigil. The lighthouse beam answers with its own rhythm, flash and darkness, a dialogue between human technology and natural forces that has continued for generations. You think about the cargo ship that passed earlier, now many miles away. Its crew safely navigated past the dangerous rocks with the help of your light. Tomorrow night, other ships will depend on your beacon. Other sailors will look for your familiar flash pattern. Other lives may be saved by your faithful vigil. The responsibility is both humbling and inspiring, a reminder that even the simplest work can serve the greatest purposes. The night breeze carries the scent of distant places, of open ocean and foreign shores, of the vast world that lies beyond your lighthouse home. But you are content with your chosen solitude, your life of simple purpose and quiet beauty. The lighthouse beam reaches out toward that distant world, touching ships that carry news and goods and dreams across the trackless waters. Your eyelids grow heavy as you watch the lighthouse beam sweep across the star-reflected water. The gentle rotation creates a hypnotic rhythm that blends with the eternal whisper of waves. The night air carries the scent of salt and seaweed, cooling your face with its gentle touch. You feel deeply peaceful, surrounded by the protective light of your beacon. The stars shine down like distant lighthouses, guiding you toward rest. The ocean sings its ancient lullaby, waves against stone, wind through rigging, the eternal heartbeat of the sea. You drift into a deep, restful sleep, knowing that your light will continue its faithful vigil, guiding travelers safely through the darkness, until the dawn comes once again to paint the eastern sky with gold.